Thank the Founder you were safe. The Griffin is slain then?
And a Heartstone claimed.
Yes. This radiant luster, like frozen flame, it is just as your father described it. Thank you, my lord. Your Grace, your father would be so proud.
Lady Goditha, the lapidary is ready.
Thank you, Cyril. I will be with him shortly. If you would excuse me, I shall have the stone cut and set forthwith. The armbands are complete. Pray, take them. They are yours, after all. Heartstone is harder and more enduring than garnet, or even ruby. It symbolizes unwavering will and devotion. And the graven vines encircling the stone represent the unbreakable bonds between you.
It's a message. Father knew we had enemies both inside and outside the duchy. Enemies who would thwart his vision. Only with unwavering devotion would it ever be realized.
And only if we stood together, as Phoenix and Shield, as brothers in arms. Only then might those enemies be overcome.
Indeed. His Grace knew the enormity of the task he would entrust to you, his heirs. But this was more than just a message. It was a promise. That he would always be with you.
Thank you, Lady Goditha, for remaining the steadfast custodian of our father's will.
Forgive me, my lady, but there is something I don't quite understand. The Undying told me that after Father died, Mother claimed all of the ducal treasures for her own. Even if the armbands were incomplete, she would surely not have overlooked them. So, how were you able to keep them from her?
Because I was the keeper of the vault. Though I was but a lowly servant, your father spoke to me of his intentions for the bands, of the deep love he had for both of you, and his hopes for your future. In the days before the disaster at Phoenix Gate, I discovered that the Duchess had ordered her jewelry be sent away from the castle. It was then that I knew she meant to betray us. I tried to warn your father, but it was too late. When word of the fire reached Rosalith, I knew my time was short. So I took up the armbands and I fled into the night.
And thank the Founder you did.
Yet my duty to your father was incomplete. Not knowing what else to do, I followed the Griffin, thinking I might claim the Heartstone on its passing. And so my pursuit continued, until Lord Cyril appeared before me. He informed me that His Grace's will had been recovered, and that his sons were alive and well.
Lady Goditha, on behalf of my father and all the people of Rosaria, I thank you for your loyal service.
As do I.
Thank you, my lord. Your Grace, for coming back to us, for giving my service meaning.
The bands suit you well. It must be gratifying to finally receive the inheritance that was denied you for so long.
It is. And we thank you for the part you played, Cyril.
If you would permit me to play my part a little longer, might I suggest that you make your way to your father's memorial atop Hawk's Cry Cliff. Let him see that you have received his blessing, and that his vision lives on in...
I suppose it would be churlish not to. What do you say, Clive? Shall we pay Father a visit?
I think we should. I was hoping to be able to offer him my thanks before we left for Origin.
Your father's helm is enshrined there. It has been since the day we recovered it from Phoenix Gate. I prithee claim it. For it too is a part of your inheritance, and I do not doubt that your father would prefer it in your hands than perched upon some lonely rock.
Thank you, Cyril. Come on, Clive. He's waiting.
Ah, you are returned, my lord.
I collected your colleagues' preliminary findings. Here, take them.
My thanks. I shall study them, and inform you forthwith if I discover aught that might aid you in your fight against Ultima.
Cyril, your survey party suffered several losses in Kretov. Losses which could have been avoided, had the others not chosen to complete their work, instead of saving their friends. Were these your orders?
No. This was their choice. Every Undying devotes his life to the service of the Phoenix. It is our sole duty, and should we die in discharging it, so be it.
Even when death is avoidable.
My lord, I fear that this is not a point over which it would be fruitful to argue. The Undying have served the Phoenix for countless generations, and your opinion of our methods, however earnest, is not like to change them. We live to serve the Phoenix. Our very order exists for that purpose, and that purpose alone.
Cyril, I know that you and your brethren answer only to Joshua, but allow me to offer you a word of advice. It does not further the cause of the Phoenix to have his loyal followers surrender their lives without good reason. Provide your survey parties with an escort, that they might live to do their duty for years to come. Think not only of how you can serve the Phoenix, but how Joshua would want you to serve him. Please. For all our sakes.
I thank you for your advice, my lord. If you will permit me to respond, our faith in his grace, Joshua Rossfield, is absolute. And we of the Undying will do what we believe is right to fulfill our duty unto him. As first shield to the Phoenix, I am sure you understand what it means to do one's duty.
I do.
Then we are of the same mind. And it is my hope that we may continue to do our duty together.
So it's these stones to Canva, and the rest of the boxes to Downer.
Why won't the sky go back to how it was?
No history would be complete without mention of the Mothercrystals.
That Cyril fella's an odd fish, don't you think? How are those new boots treating you?
Careful how you pack that leather. Any creases or scratches will bring down.
What golden plains might the wanderers have called home, I wonder? Farmers must have settled here in Tabor. I should speak to the old scholar before I forget everything I've read. The engravings were in good repair,
Would that I could have seen for myself. Come, don't tease me now. Let's start with the engraving to the south.
Guardians of the Crystal. The first stones of Tabor. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Fascinating. It would seem the founders of this city were descendants of those fallen charged with protecting the Mothercrystals. But whatever could have driven the Guardians so far from their sacred charges? The engraving to the...
Wanderers of the Golden Plains. Lay or...
No doubt you're right. There are vestiges of nomadic customs in Tabor. This is proving most enlightening.
Children of the... That's all three.
And so, we 3 engravings. 1 Guardians of the Mother Crystal, Wanderers from a... Little wonder it was so difficult to trace the roots of Tabor's culture. Though, nonetheless, one cannot help but wonder why this fact is not better known.
Too many stairs, perhaps.
Ha! Too many by far. Here...
Careful how you pack that leather. Any creases or scratches.
Lord Marquis?
What is it, Cyril?
One of our brethren lately journeyed across the strait in order to pursue a new avenue of inquiry in our ongoing
Was he surveying another fallen ruin?
No. The object of his study was a savior cult that has arisen in Ash in recent years, an ancient religion that worshipped Ultima as its god. By gaining an understanding of this new faith, we hoped to learn more of the Circle's original beliefs.
And so you sent one of your brothers to Ash? A continent teeming with orcs and Akashic?
Fully cognizant of I entrusted the mission to one of the most able of our order, the third chair. Though he has been silent for some days now, I have thus far refrained from sending any others in search of him. Yet, it seemed only right to inform you of the situation, given your unique... For as you so earnestly advised me, it would not do.
But Ash is a big...
Perhaps Mickleberg was its name. It lies in the if aught ill befell him.
Right.
You are much too kind. Go then, with my hopes, and may the
unwavering will and an unbreakable bond. Do you really think we're strong enough?
To save the world? Of course. To overcome Father's political enemies. That I'm less certain. Especially knowing what we know now. Father was truly capable of. Perhaps these bands would have helped. Knowing he was with us would have made all the difference.
It's just back there. Father always fought for what he believed was right. It wasn't until that night at Phoenix Gate that I realized I had never fought for anything. I always had someone else to do the fighting for me.
No matter how fate conspired against him, he never lost heart, never looked back, never stopped fighting. To me, he was the greatest of men. And I've been trying to live up to his ideals ever since.
We all have, Clive. We all have. And we'll keep trying. Because that's what he would have wanted.
What he would have done himself. Even if it meant standing against the very gods in the heavens.
I shall be borrowing this, Father, if I may. That you might watch over us as we follow in your footsteps.
We won't lay you down.
Onward then,
Onward.
and to a new beginning.
It's oil. After what happened here, it's a miracle there was any left at all. This should be enough. Laura should be somewhere nearby. Assuming she's still here.
Ah, Clive. Just the man I was hoping to see.
Oh? And why is that?
You remember how some of Sir Wade's guardians took up residence here after the Akashic attacked? Well, now the rest have come to join him. Seems their barracks in the Lazarus have been lost to an aether flood. Now, I don't mind having a few more brave boys around to keep them animals at bay. I ain't daft after all. But we ain't got nowhere for 'em to bed down. Poor buggers are having to make do with haylofts and chocobo pens. I'd build 'em a new barracks here if I could. But where would I put 'em? There just ain't enough room up here on the rock. Which leaves us in a bit of a pickle. The people we're counting on to keep us safe are living like beggars.
I see.
And it ain't just that lot. There's bears to think about too. There's been more and more of them turning up lately, coming from all over looking for safe haven. But there's only so many we can shelter with the room we've got. We can't keep cramming more and more people into less and less space. What we need is a new home for our new arrivals. And that's what I was hoping you might help me with. If it ain't too much of a burden, of course.
It's no burden.
Thank you.
So, where were you thinking of making this new home?
Well, I reckon we could do a lot worse than Eastpool.
Eastpool. It's been a long time since I thought about that place.
It was a tragedy, what happened. And if any of us could have done anything to stop it, we would have. But what's done is done. And those who lived there wouldn't have wanted the village they loved to be left in ruins.
I suppose you're right.
The Blight might be pressing in, but I reckon it's got a good few years left in it yet. There's just one problem. A band of cutthroats have made it their den, and they don't seem like they'll be moving on in a hurry. Nasty bastards they are too. Would have sent someone to clear 'em out sooner, if my boys didn't already have their hands full fending off the Akashic. But now we've got a few more guardians of the flame to call on. I reckon it's time we made our move.
I do. Eastpool was once home to people I loved. I won't have bandits sully those memories.
And I know the men will gladly follow you. I've already shared a few thoughts with Sir Wade about how we might be able to win the place back, and I dare say he's got some ideas of his own too. Why don't you go and talk to him?
Of course.
We return to Eastpool then?
Not just yet. Let's hear Wade's plan first.
My lord Marquis, it is you. I am Sebastian Rutherford.
Of course. We met once before.
Yes, my lord.
And what was so sensitive that you couldn't put it in writing?
1,000 apologies, my lord. I did not mean to offend.
It's all right. Continue.
I am here at Martha's Rest, at the behest of your lord uncle, tasked with learning what I am able of the realm's current state of affairs. And what I have learned is grim. The subsequent darkening of the heavens has only made things worse. The gears of governance have ground to a halt. The realm threatens to drift into utter chaos. Your lord uncle, however, believes there is a way to avoid this fate.
That sounds like quite the undertaking.
It is. Hence my having enlisted the aid of several colleagues serving the 7 high houses. Alas, I have lost contact with 2 of those colleagues already. They are both able-bodied and trained in the sword.
So you want me to find them? I'll need to know where they went.
One I sent to investigate the Republic, the other the old Imperial capital of Oriflamme.
That doesn't exactly narrow it down. I suppose I'll start in Dalamil and work my way east.
Thank you, my lord. I shall pray for your success and safety.
What are you after? Much obliged. There you go. Much obliged.
Just because the heavens have gone to Rackaroon, it don't mean we have to.
It doesn't still hurt, does it?
It's been a pleasure, Doris. Just like old times.
I'll give your offer some thought, my lady.
How goes the investigation?
Sid, what brings you to Martha's Rest?
You. I heard you were out here on your own, tracking our slaver. I trust you're being careful.
Of course. And it had to be me. The bearers from the Dragon's Eyrie confirmed a long-held suspicion of mine that the slaver we've been tracking is an old acquaintance. She's no fool. If we'd come in force, she would have spotted us straight away.
That was her just now, wasn't it? So, was it a fruitful reunion?
I'd say so. She tried to recruit me. Seems her time in Rosaria is coming to an end. She's abducted bearers from across the region and is looking to smuggle them back into Sambrec. After her brush with those beastmen on the road to Northreach, she hired herself an Imperial escort, which she wants me to join. She's dangerous, Sid, but I think I can stop her.
Then I'm going with you. I'll take care of the escort. You can see the bearers to safety.
The Baum archers, soon to break camp. You go on ahead. I'll follow once I've sent word back to the hideaway.
So, Wade, it's good to see you well.
And you, Lord Rossfield. And you.
I spoke with Martha. She tells me you have plans to free Eastpool and make it your own.
That's right, though it was mostly her idea. I rather fear my men have been treading on her toes somewhat since joining us, not to mention each other's. And then there are the bearers, men and women who found the courage to flee their masters and sought refuge here. We need somewhere to settle them, and I can think of worse places than Eastpool.
As can I, which is why I agreed to help you win it back.
That's very kind of you. I'd be most grateful if you would. With you beside us, we shall soon send that rabble of rogues running for the hills.
So, what can you tell me?
That thankfully there aren't too many of them. Fewer than a dozen at our last count. And rather less, thankfully. The road that leads there will more than likely still be crawling with Akashic. A small force would suffice to clear the village. But if the Akashic were to follow them in, that force could end up trapped between a rock and a very hard place indeed.
I'll head into Eastpool and deal with the bandits. You and the Guardians can stay outside the village and fend off any Akashic who come too close. Make sure I'm not taken unawares.
I can't ask you to bear all that risk yourself, my lord.
The Akashic are the bigger risk. I can handle a few bandits.
Well, if you're sure, I shall summon my men at once.
Shall I wait for you here?
No need, my lord. You go on ahead. We'll be with you before long.
All right. I'll meet you at Eastpool then.
We shall see you there. And may victory await our coming.
Who the hell are you? Kill them! You will leave this place.
Or face the consequences. That's the end of that then. Or maybe not. What's that thing doing here? Doesn't matter. It goes to... Any more surprises? I'll take that as a no.
Bravo. A magnificent display, my lord.
You were watching? I thought you were keeping an eye out for a Kashik.
We were. Put down more than a few on the road, then arrived just in time to see you slay that... whatever it was.
Let's hope it was the last of its kind. Though I expect you and the Guardians will be up to the challenge should another appear.
I would hope so, my lord.
Your men will be bringing the bearers who'll be living here, I assume. It might be best to send word for them to come right away. Before any other unsavory characters move in.
Of course. I'll send orders for them to depart immediately. Leave it with me, my lord.
Home. Without masters.
No. We're the masters now. Our lives are our own at last.
That's all of them. And not a single Akashek in sight. Now to begin the important work of rebuilding the place. It won't be easy. Especially not after 5 years of beasts and blackguards having their wicked way with the place. The masonry might still be sturdy enough, but half the beams are rotted. Those that weren't lost in the fire or burned by the bandits, that is. It'll take a bit of elbow grease, but we'll see Eastpool rise again. Just you wait.
So wait. Lady Hannah is buried here. If you don't mind, I'd like Oscar to join the rebuilding efforts. He should be a part of this.
Of course. I couldn't agree more.
I'll let Martha know that everyone arrived safely. If you need anything more, you have only to send a Stolas.
And we will, my lord. Safe travels.
And so the healing of Eastpool begins.
Let's go and tell Martha the good news.
They all died, didn't they? The ones who were here before.
Have care.
It's over! Let darkness fall!
Good. They haven't broken camp yet. How did Doris come to know a slaver, I wonder?
We've waited long enough. She's not coming. Ready the bearers. We're leaving.
Back to civilization, is it, Mom?
With all haste, lest any of you lackwits start talking like these feckless bumpkins. I presume your men are ready. We've suffered too many delays as it is. Any more, and I'll be docking your pay.
Yes, Mom.
Oh, but before you go, it appears we have company. Kill him.
You're welcome to try. So much for your escort.
You'll forgive me for not avenging my men. I'm not the swordswoman I used to be. I surrender. Do with me as you wish, Sid the Outlaw.
Sid.
Ah, Doris. I take it you're not here to rescue me from our brooding renegade? You know, I always wondered where you'd vanished to. But casting your lot with this criminal of all people,
Better fighting for a cause than killing for coin. I'm sorry, Sid. I should have told you sooner. This woman, my former master, once trained bearer children to be weapons in service of the highest bidder. She raised me like a daughter, and I did terrible things to earn her favor.
It wasn't all terrible, surely. We had our fun, too. You were always so eager to learn, and had such clever hands. All my other children took either to the blade or to the books. Always either or. But you proved yourself a master of both. That's why I kept you for my own. How about it, my little dagger? Care to swear that blade to me again?
I never swore my blade to you, nor will I ever. I fight for a higher cause, to liberate the bearers of this world. Farewell, Master. Thank you for making me the weapon I am.
You always were a righteous child. Perhaps that's the reason I loved you so.
What do you want to do with her?
I am not the killer she wanted me to be. Not anymore. And she no longer has friends in high places. The Dame does, though. Her connections at the Imperial Court will see that justice is done.
All right. If you're certain.
I am. And thank you for everything. Now, I better let these bearers know that they're safe.
And I should head back to the hideaway and put Cole's mind at ease.
Welcome back, Sid. Doris's message just arrived. I hear you saved more bearers from being smuggled across the border.
With any luck, they'll be joining us in the hideaway shortly. Oh, and your letter. You don't need to worry about Doris anymore.
I'd been hoping as much. She mentioned one or two things in her report. So the slaver we'd been chasing all these months was her former master. Wish I'd known. She's been arrested, by the way, over in Sanbreak. Went quietly, or so we're told. And she won't be getting off lightly. The Empire may have no love for bearers, but it's none too fond of black market traders either. Can't have been easy for Doris.
I'm sure it wasn't. But don't worry. She'll be all right.
I hope so. Suppose you should know, eh? You had quite the past yourself before you came here, or so I understand. Anyway, thanks again, Sid. The Cursebreakers would be lost without Doris. And you, of course.
Keep up the good work, Cole.
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter, and something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When aether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now, and while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together, and we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit Walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris. If Joshua's worried about Jill, I should go and speak with him.
Say what you will.
Pining for something, boy. What is it? What do you see out there? I never did ask where you got that anklet of yours.
From Sid, that's where. On the day he brought him home.
That long ago?
And you're only thinking to ask this now? Sid saw that the pup had a habit of gnawing on his leg, since you ask. Clap that there iron on him to keep him from doing it.
What was wrong, boy?
I'll take like as not. Must have been hard on the poor whelp losing his loving masters at such a young age. Doubly hard in being a frost wolf. Torn away from his Eikons and all. Sid would always tell him, you want that iron gone, you find what it is you're looking for. I reckon what he was looking for was you.
I'm sorry, Torgal. Sorry for making you wait so long. Let's get that thing off you.
Doesn't sound like he wants it off.
Indeed. You miss Sid as much as the rest of us, don't you? You want me to go with you somewhere?
Quick, can't you? Glad you've been paying attention.
Not nearly as much as you have, Lady Karen.
Aye, good thing and all. It's not like Gav would have kept him in nuts and rubbed his belly these past 10 summers.
Your kindness is appreciated. You've been a good friend to him.
Only because he doesn't talk back like the rest of you. Go on now.
Where to then, Torgal? Torgal. Where are you taking me? I'm going to need a little bit more than that, boy. Do you have a better hint for me? Unless... you've already given me one. Back on the rear deck, you were looking west. Toward Rosaria. Why don't we try the rookery? I haven't been to the island in almost 20 years. To Port Isolde, then. Fingers crossed the old mooring is still there.
I was wondering when next you'd visit. I have compiled some new entries, if you would like to see them. You wish to study the tomes?